good people, and thank you for tuning in to Woman on I Will Live to JC.
To have a radio station everyone loves.
I love them a lot.
Hi, and welcome to Woman, and I'm TT, and I have my co-host with me, Boogie and Shirley. Holla!
Hey.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey. Everybody doing okay today?
It's Wednesday. Heck yeah.
Okay.
We have made it to the middle of the week. It's downhill from here.
I know that's right. It'd be nice. Well, and we got a 3-day weekend coming up. Well, some of us do.
4 day for me.
I don't have a 3-day weekend coming up.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I work for the man. I got to work on that day, especially that day.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I'm celebrating.
We'll be enjoying it for you.
I know, right? Doing up big time. Well, today we're going to be talking more, part 2 of when to walk away from a relationship. And we kind of stopped off last week with you trying to change your partner. And it says we often fall in love with people who don't suit us, so to speak. If you find that you're constantly trying to change your partner, it may be time to move on. Now, these are words from Dr. Dennis Netter. We're reading an article that's been posted on the site as well, the article, and we're discussing his ways to know if you should break off a relationship. And trying to change your partner is a big one. Boogie, what do you have to say about that one?
Trying to change your partner? I don't know. I mean, when you say you're trying to change, or you see people get that twisted. You know, in my opinion, when that's to me that's a cop out sometimes. People say, "Oh, you're trying to change me," or "You're trying to change me." But I think a lot of times it's you voicing your opinion or your feelings on how this person is acting or what they're doing is upsetting you. You're voicing your feelings. You saying, "Oh, I wish you wouldn't do that. That bothers me." Some people try to twist that around and say, "Oh, you're trying to change me." So I don't know how I view that. I mean, you have the right to tell a person how you feel and what's bothering you and what you don't like.
Yeah, you do have a right to that, and I think it's more of a situation where that person has always been that way, and all of a sudden you feel like they should do it differently, and so you try to pressure upon them to do it differently, the way you think it would be better for them to do it, so to speak, and as far as change their way of doing things, changing them or their habit or ways, personality, stuff like that. Like if you're a happy-go-lucky person and all of a sudden you've always been that way, and all of a sudden your partner was like, "You just too happy for me. Can you calm it down?" Or
That's what. Yeah.
How about you, Shirley?
Yeah.
Well, I think that, trying to change it. My husband has these habits, things that he likes to do with his fingernails and stuff. He'll click them or he'll tap on things, and I'm like, "Can you not do that?" And it's not that I'm trying to change him. I'm trying to make him aware that when he's doing those things, it kind of irritates me to just, maybe not do it as frequently, or maybe not do it when you're around me. I'm not trying to change him, because you can't change a person. You can only change yourself. Some people are going to be how they are because that's just who they are. That's how they were raised. That's all they know. And all you can do is make suggestions to try to, not be quite as irritating to you, maybe. Mm-hmm. I say it like that. You know what I mean?
What if that person was another way when you married him? Because in my personal experience and my feelings, I see from situations that I've seen that the person that you married isn't the same person you dated. The person that you dated was so loving and caring and sharing. That's the reason why you married them most times, because you're like, okay, they're good for me. I can deal with this. Then when you get married, it's like, wow, who is this person?
Okay, well, what if it's like this? that person was always how they are now, but they had that person hidden because they knew that would be a problem for some other people. You know, and they had a problem keeping a male or a female as a mate because if they real selves came out, then they'd be like, well, you know what, I'll probably never get a husband or a wife.
Well,
so you kind of look at it in a different way.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. You know, they what I call it is a representative.
It is called representative because they represent somebody that they know that you want, and they don't want you to know who they really are until after. You know, I was watching this movie, Cinderella, the one with Whitney Houston and Brandy, and there was this one little section in there. The mama said, "You hide all your flaws until after the wedding." That's a true statement because people do that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like that's the whole relationship is built on a lie. If you don't know the person you really married to, that's not the real you. And no need to get comfortable afterward, and the real you come out, and that person find out they really don't like you. You can't go into a honest, sincere relationship under false pretenses.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think that every couple, if they're planning to spend a lifetime together, should expect some change, because the beginning process of a relationship does transform as you tend to grow together in life. Your differences change, your taste buds change. I mean, your views on things may change as you get older through life. I think it's an unrealistic expectation to expect no change at all from the person you're with, because as we get older and go through life's journey, we change.
Yeah, but if your change is not for the better, then it's a problem. I don't have a problem with making changes. I try to stay up in what's going on around me, you know, my surroundings, the people that I'm around. But if I'm not making any changes to better myself or better my situation, then that means I'm falling behind, or I just don't care. As long as I get what I want. But that's not right, because it's not fair to the person that I'm married to.
Okay. I heard, as long as I get what I want. Back up to what you said right before that. I heard what you said, but that part stood out, and I was going to comment on that, but you said something else that kind of made me change what I was going to say.
What do you mean about when you're with somebody, you know who you are, or what did I say? Really, what did I say?
You said trying to...
I don't remember what I said.
Something about trying to change that person to better themselves, but to get to what you want.
Okay, like with me, if I try to change myself to meet the surroundings or the people that I'm around right now, that's okay. But if I'm not making any change to try to better myself, then that falls on me. You know, because as long as I get what I want, then okay. But I don't care about what the other person wants. So I'm not going to change for them. I'm going to change for myself. But if it's not for the better, then that's a waste of time.
Some people are content with the way they are and just don't have any desire to change the way they are.
True.
So do you think it would be wrong for the partner trying to make them elevate themselves when they don't want to?
Yeah. Well, the person has to want to change certain things. Now, if you have somebody sitting there and they're just content with being, you know, anal or selfish, and they're content with that, then what do you do?
Oh, wait. No, run, Forrest, run.
1-800-SHOW-TELL.
Stop.
You know, a lot of it has to do with the maturity level of a person. Do you want your relationship to work with your husband or your wife? Do you want to always be the one who stays behind? Because I don't want to be stuck back there on the yellow bus. I want to go ahead on and move to the blue bus.
Yellow bus. What's on the blue bus?
Hey, you know, the yellow bus is for the other people. I want to be on the one that's going somewhere long distance. I ain't trying to stay stuck in no rut. You know, that's the Greyhound bus, the big blue bus. I want to travel.
I want to know what's on this blue bus.
I want to move around. Well, get on the blue bus and see.
And I thought about something when you said that for a good wine, or what they consider like a great wine, in order to it to get to that process, it can't mature unless it does what? Change and transform.
Bro.
It cannot remain the same and give you a different result, a better result remaining the same. But
See, I think a relationship is a process because
it is.
you have to. I mean, you meet a person, you fall in love with this person, you get married to this person, and then when you get married, you have to still continue to work at things because it's not going to just be, all cookies and cream. There's going to be some bumps in the road, but it's how the person handles those bumps. But then sometimes the bumps get so bad you just can't take it. You're ready to bounce. Because it's like, okay, if you're going to always have to fight about money or being not clean or, being lazy, then, and it's just the same all the time, eventually you're going to wear down the person who's doing all the work. And they're going to be like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore, and I'm getting ready to leave. It gets to that point. People think that marriage is an adventure. Marriage is a job. You have to work at it.
And it's even a harder job when you're trying to force somebody to change.
Or even if you're not trying to force them, if you just, make suggestions and they just don't want to do it, then you know what? Okay.
Yeah, they just don't want to do it.
I can show you better than I can tell you.
Some people
I tried to change my husband a couple of times, not doing it intentionally, but I thought about this. I want him to do things my way. But you know what? The things that I do my way, those are my way, and it may not be right for him, just like things that he does them his way because that's the way that he knows. And so it works for him, but what works for him may not work for the next next male or the next female. So you have to come up to a compromise where, let's try A, B, and C. And if those didn't work, let's try D, E, and F until we find a solution to whatever the problem is. But if you can't come up with a solution and you're just tired of fighting and bickering, then it's time to go.
I am having the hardest time trying to explain that to my mother. She is constantly back and forth with my sister because she doesn't do the things the way my mom does them. And my mom feels like, well, that's the best way, the right way, and the only way you should be doing it because it's most productive. And it doesn't necessarily always work for my sister to get the same results that my mom has, so she tries to do it with what works for her. And my mom just wants to argue about you're not doing it right, but she's not doing it wrong. She's just not doing it the way you told her to do it because that doesn't work for her. She can't get it to work right, so she does it to where she can handle it better and work and get the same results.
But you know what? Okay, and this is going to sound crazy. There's an age difference between your mom and your sister. So your mom may have been taught to do something a specific way, and it may have always worked for her, but she needs to take into consideration times are different now and methods are different, and your sister's going to have to just stand up and say, look, Mom, I have tried it your way, and I have to do this my way because when I leave here to move on with my life, I have to be able to move forward with what works for me.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
she does
stand some ground.
She does stand her ground. Actually, she does it in a disrespectful way, I would say, but she does stand her ground to that. But it's a big argument because my mom can't move past seeing that, and it's a constant battle because they constantly get in the same rut or about the same stuff. But it's no different in between a man-woman married couple relationship. I mean, it's no just because somebody does it that way and you trying to change them to do it your way or be this way because you feel that this is the way it should be is not necessarily correct. A person's going to be who they want to be and who they are to be, and to ask them to be anything any different, is wrong. If you can't handle them the way that they are, yes, I know you want to better people or help them see them better, but it doesn't necessarily, if you can't force, you can try to force feed somebody who doesn't want to be fed, but there's going to be some resistance. And it's going to to the point where are you going to get tired enough of going through that resistance, and you're going to have to weigh the cost.
Has your sister ever said, Mom, why don't you try to do it my way and see what happens? Has she ever tried that?
My mom is very insistent on nothing else works.
So she's set in her ways.
She is.
Okay.
How old is your mom?
My mom she just told me this the other day, 52. Yeah.
What?
Yes, because I thought she was 54. She's 52.
Oh, your mom young.
She's set in her ways, though.
But she's young, though. I thought she was, like my dad. Like, my dad's 70, and he's like, hey, in his mind, you can't tell him anything if you're younger than him, especially if you're his kid. You can't come to him any kind of way except for his way. It's just whatever. It's my way or no way. So I thought maybe that was what. But your mom's kind of young though.
Yeah, she is, but she's set in a way. She likes a particular schedule and a habit and a way of doing things, and she likes it done a certain way. And if you don't do it the way she likes to do it, it's a big thing. But anyhow, yeah. So I keep reminding her of that. But anyhow, and we're all family. We try to make it better by the end of the day, or the end of the week, however long it takes them to get over that hump. The next point that he goes on to say is, you don't laugh anymore. And it says that humor is something that all relationships need. If you no longer find their jokes funny, or you can't have lighthearted conversations, it may be a sign that the relationship has lost its zing. Do both of you have fun with your spouses still after both of you are married? So, anybody want to share?
I do. My husband goofy. We all, when he comes home from work, if I'm in the kitchen or if I'm in the family room and he can't see my head, he come in the house talking about, where that woman at? And I'm like, what woman you talking about? He does little stuff, and we crack jokes, and we have tickle arguments, some stuff. We go on dates, and we go to the store together sometime when I feel like being bothered with him because he ain't a shopper. We do stuff all the time. What about you, Boogie?
Not really.
So would you agree that humor is something that relationships need? Do you feel like you have to have that need for humor?
Necessary. It's very necessary. And, I used to have fun with my wife and everything. We used to hang out, do little small stuff like make a pallet on the floor and watch TV all night and stuff like that. But it's like, now everything is kind of strained and, it's just drama. You need all that. You need humor and fun.
You do.
On a regular basis if you can.
Well,
how do you get that back?
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this question too, if I may ask. When did the fun change? Is it when the children came, or was there a job situation, money situation? When did you notice that funship disappeared? I know funship's not a word, but
after the honeymoon.
Dang.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was like I told you, it was like, hey, this person is one way before you get married. Then, after the honeymoon and everything, then this person changes into this person. You like, where did this come from? So stuff started happening right after the honeymoon, and I'm like, what? I didn't know that, and it was like, okay, this is how I act. Oh, I didn't know that either. Then, then a lot of stuff gets swept under the rug while one person is still upset about the other stuff not being solved. So stuff just keeps getting added on, added up. So, I can relate to, what we're talking about, by not having fun anymore. It just kind of happened and it got worse and worse, and some things just never got solved.
With me, my husband is always in a humorous mood. He doesn't have a serious bone in his body. Everything is joke or jokey. Which he's pretty much always been that way. And I think that might have been part of my attraction, because I had left a bad relationship and I went into a depression. So it really lightened my mood. And I was happy again for the first time in a long time. And so I enjoyed the humor. It can be annoying when we have to face serious situations, but that's who he is. He's a comedian, and that's for the most part how he likes to be. And I really can't see him any other way. He might be a dull individual if he took away his humor. But for your situation, I mean, going back to what you said, Boogie, when you say right after the honeymoon, was this literally right after, or a year close to right after?
It was like a year or two after, and it was like, wow, because, when I first started dating her, I have a lot of family and friends, so every weekend, I have people over, we'd hang out, watch TV, cook something, and and I understood that, once you get married, some of that stuff had to taper off. But it wasn't like it was out of control. It was more family oriented, where it was couples and stuff like that, where we'd all get together, hang out at my house or whatever, and then it became to a point where she'd go, well, I'm tired of everybody coming over here. And I'm like, you didn't have a problem with that, before we were dating. Well, I'm tired of everybody coming to our house now. So that started tapering off, and now nobody comes over, So that took away a lot of my fun, So it just, I don't know, it started happening pretty much, and I told her about it. I said, it started happening right after our honeymoon, and she kind of looked like, she didn't have anything to say about it. Like she knew, it has, but there was nothing said after that.
Now, is she also mutual in this? Does she also have the same feeling of, I'm not having fun in this relationship, or does she think everything is fine?
Most of the time she thinks everything is fine, no matter what I say. If I say, hey, I'm not happy, this is bothering me, her response is, why? I'm okay. So, it's just kind of one of those things,
So she still seems happy.
Yeah.
Does she try to make jokes with you or laugh with you or try to do anything to get your attention in a humorous type of playful way?
Yeah, sometimes. But, I have to admit, at this point in our relationship, my heart has gotten a little harder, so I don't laugh as much. Like, she does it, I'm kind of like, yeah, what you want? I'm trying to, work on that to see what's going on how to fix it, but at the same time, it's like all this stuff is going on through the course of our relationship, and when she jokes with me, it's kind of like, yeah, all right, whatever.
Okay, but she does try.
Sometimes, yeah, she tries.
All right. So, with the course of her continuing to on that path, continuing to try, do you think it's something that you can eventually get your heart back, ready to receive from her?
I don't know. I'm real apprehensive about things because there's other things that I don't know. I really couldn't answer that question right now.
Okay. I'm gonna leave you alone on that.
So no, it's okay. So this topic that we're talking about, it kind of hits home. It's a little, little touchy subject, but I'm cool about it. Y'all know me. I talk about it. It's no problem.
So let me ask you this, Boogie. If your wife, for the lack of a better word, changed into a better person and started doing things differently, do you think that it would change the way you feel about the situation now, or do you think that she would be doing it to get something from you?
Honestly, I think the latter. I think it's to get something from me. We've been through that several times where she'll, change. Okay, she'll come to me and say, "I'll change what I'm doing. I know you're upset. I know you're not happy. I'll change it." And then, like a week or two later, after everything is going smooth, and it go back to the old way. And I'll say, you said that you were. Well, I'm not perfect. I'm tired. So I go, okay, whatever. So, it's got to the point where it used to bother me, and I used to be upset, couldn't sleep, just upset about everything. Now, now it's to the point where I go, oh, okay, well, here we are again, and I just keep on going,
Let me say this, because if she's putting attempts to try, and she feels like it's not working, or she's not really getting a response, or she feels like you've given up, and it doesn't matter how much she tries, it's just not working, and then she has a tendency to want to give up. Do you think that it's going back to the old ways because she feels like she's not feeling you responding to that, and she just doesn't know what to do and just says, forget it?
Well, maybe so, but I mean, honestly, after a week of changing things, or a week, maybe two, of changing things, and you want to give up, I mean, then honestly, I kind of feel like, well, maybe she's not giving the change a chance. Maybe she's feeling like she wants immediate results right now.
I kind of went through something similar with my husband several years back, before he had decided to leave. and we were supposed to be trying to work things out, and I was trying, and I was doing all this extra stuff, and just, just trying to be just extra perfect, just go out of my way and do all kinds of nice stuff every day, just finding buku's ways to just put a smile on his face. And he did nothing. And he, yes, thank you or whatever, but he still kept treating me the same old way. And I was like, okay, well, then I got to the point where I kept asking him, well, do you like this? And is this working? Am I getting better? Or, give me some feedback. I mean, is this something you can see? I'm working on it. Can you tell? And stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, this good. I like it. But yet he was not, doing anything for me in return. Or, I would send you little text messages. I never get a text message back. I wouldn't get a response back or nothing. Just, and I felt like, okay, I'm doing all of this, and he says I'm doing all the right things, but yet I feel like I'm doing it by myself. I'm just working at this. He felt deeply inside him that he didn't need to change anything, that he was fine the way he was, and he could just treat me any old kind of way, and I was supposed to be cool with it. Long as I was, going out of the way for him, he was happy, but he didn't want to change any part of himself or even admit that he had an area that needed to be changed, or that was even, I should be even bothered by anything that he did, and that really bothered me. And it got to the point where I'm doing all this, and I just felt like I was tired. I was exhausting myself, felt like I was just carrying the whole relationship by myself and just getting junk in return. And it just really hurt me to my core. I'm like, I'm doing all this and that. I don't know what else to do. I had many countless talks with the Lord. I prayed about it, and I'm like, I'm going to just keep doing what I need to do, keep pressing my way, and maybe he'll see, the Lord will reveal it to him some kind of way or whatever. But I just got so tired of trying to just please him, and it just made me feel down, even more so down, that I feel like I was getting walked on in return. No matter how good I was being or what I was doing right, I was still getting a wrong result. And I just wanted to stop. Just like, forget this. I can't do it by myself.
But on one end, I do stuff for my wife, but I don't expect anything in return. Like, I don't know. I just do it. I mean, that's just how I am. If I see she needs something or whatever, I would do it. It's not a problem. And not expecting anything in return. So when I would change or do different things, I just said, okay, this is what I need to do for me in order to do what I'm supposed to do. So a lot of times I wasn't expecting anything in return, but I mean, I get what you're saying. You want to see somebody make some kind of effort, or appreciation, or either just acknowledgement to say, hey, okay, I understand what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Let me make some kind of effort towards it. But then on the other end of the spectrum, like I said, kind of want somebody, if they're going to do something for you, to do it at the counter to their heart, or because they want to, not because they're expecting you to actually do something in return immediately.
Right. And I was doing that, but we had sat down, we had a meeting and sat down, and we wrote down the things that bothered each other about each other, okay? And we made a commitment that we were going to work on changing these things to better our relationship together. I worked on the things that he told me that he would have liked to have seen me do differently, but he didn't work on the things that I had put forth. And
okay, y'all have an agreement. Well, that's different. If you have an agreement that this is what y'all both going to do, then yeah, that's totally different. If you're saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and he's saying at the same time, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that for you, and you don't hold up his end of the bargain, yeah, you're going to have some resentment and, wondering, hey, what's going on? Why am I doing all the changing? And you're not. You said you were. But yeah, that's different. I understand.
Yeah. We've kind of moved into the next one, which was you're doing all the giving, or you're the one that's doing all the getting. And it's hard to have a two-person relationship when everything is one-sided.
Yeah.
When you're doing what you need to do, and and the other person is not doing anything at all and seems not to care. Shirley, you're mighty quiet over there. We didn't mean to leave you out over there.
I'm just listening.
Doing all the giving. I know you got something on that one.
Okay. I've had those feelings before, you know. And I think that a lot of it has to do with things that I saw growing up. You know, I watched my mom do the mama stuff. I watched my grandmother do the mama stuff. And you kind of pick up those habits of, well, you know what, you do this, this, and this. But today, with the people that are of today, it's so different because somebody's extremely lazy or they always complaining and griping about something, and enough is never enough. So even me, I try to do what I think a wife is supposed to do, but then at some point I do get tired, and when I get tired, I open my mouth and I say, look, I'm doing A, B, and C. What are you doing? Because, I mean, I don't feel because a person works out the house versus a person works in the house that is any different, because work is work. And just because I'm working at the house, that don't mean that I have time to do everything else that has to be done, you know, outside of that. So I've been through that, but I'm past it now, and I had to speak on what I felt was going on and what that person needed to do, and they picked up their, you know, their part of it. Sometimes they kind of get a little lazy, and I'd be like, excuse you, you know, you need to do this, this, and this. But I don't think that it should always be like that. It's supposed to be a partnership.
So you keep the lines of communication open.
Huh?
So you keep the lines of communication open.
You have to, because if you don't, if you never say what is bothering you, then that person's not going to ever know, so they can't work on trying to fix it. My husband will ask me, what have I done lately, or what is it that I can do to take off some of the pressure? Just the other day, he told me, he said that he realized that whenever I'm really, really tired, everything he does gets up under my skin, and he's absolutely right. So I take naps, and he's like, I like when you take your nap, because when you wake up, you know you're refreshed and you're not in that gripey mood. And I didn't even realize that I was in a grouchy mood. I just knew I was always tired. And so, you know, you gotta talk to your spouse and see what it is that they need from you. And I'm not saying that it always works, because it does not. My husband, he realized where I was in our relationship, and I was to the point where I was done with him. And when you get to that point, they don't understand what happened, and you're trying to tell them, they can't get mad, first of all, because of how you feel, because those are your feelings. But they can do what they need to do to try to help correct it. But if they choose not to, then okay. Like I told you before, I can show you better than I can tell you. Because, see, when I shut it down, the whole house gets shut down. That means ain't nobody going to eat or drink or nothing, because if I don't cook, they don't eat. It's just that serious. Because I'm not the slave. I'm one person. I have to work. My hours are 7 to 3:30. When I get off work, my second job starts. I have to cook, and I clean, and I wash, or whatever. Sometimes I'm able to get it in throughout the workday, but that's not a guaranteed thing. It depends on what all I got going on. When my husband gets home, yes, I try to have him some dinner ready. If I don't, I'm in the process of cooking it, and he knows that. He'll get him a snack. He'll come in there and say, can I help you, or whatever. But I had to get him to that point. So, you know, everybody is different, but when that individual that's going through something, when they get tired, that's when they put the actions into play. You can talk a good game, but it's what you do. And, I mean, I can tell you what I did, but we ain't going to go there today because y'all be laughing at me.
Yeah, I used to try to do everything. I mean, I'm running around, get off work, or try to do stuff, you know, in my breaks and stuff, and then get off and try to do this and that, and do this running, and one got to go to school, do this, and I was getting tired. And then when I got sick, I just like, I can't do this no more. So if I get tired now, I will let them know I'm tired, and I will sit down, and when I can get up and get to it, I will get up and get to it, or either somebody else needs to get up and get to it. One of y'all, child, go wash this, you sweep this, I'm going to vacuum this, or, you know.
This is what I do now, and maybe y'all should both try this, because it helps me to get a little bit more organized. I make myself a to-do list. That doesn't mean to-do list today. It's just a to-do list of things that I want to get done around the house. When I do that, I write it out at night before I go to bed when I think of stuff, and I just add to it. So the next day, when I'm up around, whether it be Saturday, Sunday, or whatever day of the week, I look at that list and I see of those items what I can get done. As I do them, I cross them off my list. That's how I make it now, because I was wearing myself out. I ain't got time for that.
And the next one is your friends no longer like being around you when you're with your partner. Why are you laughing?
Because me and Boogie was talking about that earlier.
Share.
Share, Boogie.
No, I'm not sharing that. I don't think I can share that.
I can't hardly hear you now. What you say?
I don't think I can share that. I don't know if we need. What do you want me to say, Miss Shirley?
Well, the thing is, it's just, earlier how you were saying that before you guys got married, people used to always come over and stuff. And I kind of went through a little thing with that, too, with my husband, because I used to have people over all the time. They just like to come over and hang out with me. If your house is peaceful, people feel comfortable there, they want to come hang out. Well, my husband was being just downright ugly. I mean, talking crazy. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, when your friends come over, do I act like that? No. Well, why do you do that to me? It's a jealousy thing. Because they don't feel that anybody should give you attention other than themselves.
Well, the guy who wrote this article, he was like, your friends may like your partner, but they no longer like the effect your partner has on you. And Dr. Northrup says that when a relationship's not right, our friends tell us the truth and often are the first to see when a relationship turns sour. You agree with that, Boogie?
Yeah.
Let me see. My friends, none of my friends didn't like my husband. My parents didn't really care for him at first because I was in college and they were like, we ain't sending you to school to get married. And plus, Greg had a 3-year-old son that pretty much lived with him, and they were like, you're not ready to be a mom and all of this. And I was only like 19, so
okay.
Yeah, so they were kind of worried for me.
That's a bit of a pickle right there for you, for your parents to kind of understand that,
Yeah. And then the last point he makes is you no longer feel good about yourself. Think about how it felt when you first fell in love with your partner. If this feeling is lacking, you may want to look at your relationship. And especially if there is some type of abuse, physical, emotional, social, abusive situation. If your relationship is bringing your self-esteem down, and you need to take a look at your relationship, because your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. And if you don't have good feelings about yourself, in this relationship, then it's gonna be hard to even, first of all, deal with somebody, trying to make somebody else happy when you can't make yourself happy. And then, if that person is always bringing a negative thought to yourself and you have a low self-esteem on yourself, I think that's a very unhealthy relationship. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
We did receive some woman-to-woman fan mail testimonial that I'd like to share with you all from an anonymous female source, and I'd like to read it to you. She wants to share her testimony. I stayed in a relationship for 10 years with 2 children. I stayed for so long mainly because I wanted to be married to the father of my children, and felt that if I stayed patient enough until he was ready, that it would all be worth it. I made plenty of excuses, overlooked, ignored, and kept believing in him. I can't take the credit totally for the end of this relationship because this man disappeared suddenly and moved in with another woman. But after all that, I still let him come around. It was one day that I finally realized that I was his opinion while he was my priority. And I said never again. He is not the best father, but I did want my children to at least know him and have a good foundation for their relationship, as I knew he was not going to be around for long. So I think that last year was mainly for that, to make sure they were good for when I knew he was going to be out of their lives. I can say now, and I knew it then, I was not in love with him. I know real love, and what I had for him was not it. But I loved him and knew it could be real love if he ever was ready to fully commit. Now, after falling in love for real with someone who has the same dreams of marriage and family as I do, I realize he could never have met my needs for attention, affection, and communication. I know 10 years is a long time, but I am a very understanding, forgiving person. I can easily feel empathy or put myself in someone's shoes and find that things on the surface are not always as they seem. But I must admit, I took way too much for too long. There were plenty of things to blame him for, but I have been in this type of situation often. So I had to take a look at what I was giving off or accepting in a relationship to allow myself to be treated less than I deserved. I also stayed as long as I did so that I would never have to wonder if we have worked out, so that there would be no point that I would think the grass may be greener. I also stayed because I knew if I did let go, there would be no going back for me, and I still had hope we could make it for a long time. I thought him a fool to ever let me go. Well, did he realize what a treasure he had and was ready to commit, propose, the whole nine? But it was too late by then. I had moved on and I never looked back. If I had to do it all over again, I probably should have walked away before the kids came into it. That is hard for me to say because they are the best. When he first said he was not looking to ever be married, he has been divorced. I am proud of myself that I was brave enough to stay and brave enough to leave, and the person I am and have become. Discovering my true strength, getting over that decade, and that I don't feel animosity or vengeful feelings. The day I found out about the other woman, I was at church and I got saved, so I truly am free, and my worst day turned into my best day. My life has been much richer now that Jesus is my best friend, and I figured out how to lean on him, how to give it to him, how to trust him, because he always has my back, and he sent the love of my dreams right to my front door. The years of tears are replaced with cheers. And that's the letter. Wow, 10 years is a long time.
Boy, yes it is.
Man. Well,
That is definitely a long time.
it is. Well, I'm glad you made that decision, writer, to make a move, and I'm so glad it worked out for you. And I know every person's situation is not the same, but she made the choice to make this a bad situation better for her. And I thank you for that. Well, I'd like to thank the callers for tuning in to today's show, Woman to Woman, and I hope that you come back next Wednesday to join us as well. As always, be safe, be blessed, and remember to be a blessing in someone's life today. Anything you want to add, Shirley and Boogie?
Ooh, see y'all next week.
All right, bye-bye. Hi, good people, and thank you for tuning in to Woman on I Will Live to JC.